So since you're used to hearing PEMDAS as the way that to remember order of operations, you kind of have to relearn it because PEMDAS has 6 letters: parentheses for P, exponents for E, multiplication M, division D, addition A, and subtraction S. The thing is, PEMDAS is really only 4 steps. You always do the parentheses first. Parentheses can be parentheses, they could be brackets, they could be any grouping symbol, including absolute value, which we're going to learn in a different lesson. Parentheses, you always do it first. The thing with parentheses is sometimes you see a parenthesis and it represents multiplication, like 4, parenthesis 3. That's not the parenthesis step. The parenthesis step is when you see some expression, 4 plus 3 times 6, inside parentheses. And you have to do something so that you smush down what's inside the parentheses to be just one number. If there's just one number in the parentheses, it's not the parentheses step. So here's my exponent, right? I have 4 to the 3rd power. You see the little subscript 3. It's called an exponent. And 4 to the 3rd power means 4 times 4 times 4, 3 times, which is 64. 2 to the 4th is 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. So it's 2 multiplied by itself 4 times. And when you simplify that, you get 16. So this is your base. That's your exponent. Here's my example of an order of operations problem that has to do with exponents. So in this problem, it's 3 to the 2nd power plus, in parentheses, 4 plus 5 times 2. Notice I use these little carety symbols to identify which 2 numbers I'm using. I go inside the parentheses because that's my first step, and within the parentheses, I'm going to go ahead and utilize order of operations. So within the parentheses, I'm going to go to multiplication because multiplication comes before addition. Inside the parentheses, there are no parentheses, there are no exponents, but there is multiplication, so I'm going to do that first. And then I'm going to still stay within parentheses because I still have multiple numbers. I'm going to add because that's the only operation left. I get 14. At this point, I could really drop the parenthesis. I don't need the parenthesis there because it's an addition problem, but I just kept it there for fun. And then I have 3 to the 2nd power plus 14. I do 3 to the 2nd power, which is 9, because 3 times 3 is 9. And then I do my final step of 9 plus 14, which is 23. So it's if you're reading a sheet of paper and you go, I see a multiplication sign. I do multiplication. I see a division sign. I do division. However, if you're reading that same piece of paper and the division sign comes before the multiplication sign, you divide first and then you multiply. It depends on which one comes first. Division comes first from left to right, you divide. Multiplication comes first from left to right, you multiply. Step 4. Step 4, addition and subtraction from left to right. You're reading a problem. 4 plus 3 minus 2. You do 4 plus 3 first because addition comes first from left to right. 4 minus 3 plus 2. Now you do 4 minus 3 first. Even though S comes after A in PEMDAS, you're going to do S first because it's step 4, it's from left to right, just like step 3, from left to right. So the best way to remember order of operations is that it's really just 4 steps. Even though in prior years you've learned this whole device of remembering it by saying PEMDAS, I want you to relearn it as the 4 steps. Parentheses, exponents, multiplication and division, left to right, addition, subtraction, left to right. Even though you learn this lesson right now in isolation, you are going to apply this forever in your math careers. Order of operations is the way you solve math problems. It's the routine. It's the instructions on how to do it. If you don't follow order of operations, if you don't follow those 4 steps, you're going to arrive at an answer that is completely and totally incorrect.